when your primary relationship, whether it's your marriage or whatever the relationship is, but that primary relationship in your life, when it is bumpy, when you're feeling out of alignment and when you're feeling a little bit, when there's a lot of friction and every day feels hard, like everything in life feels hard. There's so much energy and time and attention required to fix it, to like either avoid the next argument or to tiptoe around. Like all of those things require so much of your energy. And when you're not in that place, when you're in like a maintenance place, when things are smooth and there's less friction, you feel like you're aligned and moving in the same direction at the same pace. Everything in life, especially your business, but everything in life just feels so much easier.
Welcome to Surviving the Side Hustle, the podcast for high performers who've gone all in, but still feeling a little stuck. I'm your host, Rob Tracy, coach, speaker, and creator of the Prime Performance Process. If you're a solopreneur, small business owner, or just launched your side hustle and you're tired of grinding with no momentum, this is for you. Every week, we bring you guests that have broke the code, generated momentum, and finally got unstuck. And we're diving into their stories, their struggles, and their secrets to generating massive momentum in both their personal and professional lives. We don't do fluff here. We do frameworks, real talk, and share the kind of insights that get you unstuck for good. Welcome, and let's get rolling. But before we dive in, I gotta remind you, if you're overwhelmed, spinning your wheels, or just tired of hustling without the results, it's time for a Prime Performance Strategy session. In this free call, we'll zoom out on your life and business, identify the real reason you're feeling stuck, and build a game plan to help you reclaim your confidence, energy, and gain some clarity so you can get back to doing what you set out to do. Lead, grow, and thrive. This isn't surface level coaching. It's a system built on resilience, intentionality, clarity, and alignment. So head over to survivingthesidehustle.com/free call to grab your spot today. Again, that's survivingthesidehustle.com/free call. Let's get going and help you look good, feel good, and do great things. What's going on? Welcome back to Surviving the Side Hustle. Today, we're flipping the script on business growth by starting with the relationships that powers that growth, I should say. Today, we've got two guests, actually. We've got Meredith and Craig. They're all coming in from Prince Edward Island. Did I get that correct?
You got that right.
All right, sweet. And a little background on them real quick. They left safe corporate jobs, stumbled through real estate, and then discovered that their real superpower which is a marriage that became the model for their coaching and mastermind. We're going to dig into how they build momentum as a team, why group support often beats going solo, and the simple rituals that keep love and business in motion. So make sure you guys grab a pen, listen to this a few times, and help me welcome Meredith and Craig to the show. Welcome, guys. How are you?
Great.
So good. Thanks for having us.
We're excited to be here.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, awesome. I'm excited to kind of dive in. I know we chatted a little bit before about the corporate lifestyle that you guys were kind of living at one point in time. So would you guys mind kind of picking up and kind of diving into where you guys were and how that whole experience went?
Sure. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, we were in the corporate 9 to 5. That's actually how we met. We worked for the same company. And over time, it just became kind of a grind. It was a little bit unfulfilling, especially for me. I felt like there was more to life than the going into the office and kind of doing the same thing over and over. And I just really felt really unfulfilled. And then during COVID, the world kind of changed and companies were trying to figure out, this new normal for themselves. And what they decided was they were going to cut costs and they were going to close the office that we had actually just moved to. We had moved across the country. We were in this new office, took a new job, and they're like, we're actually going to close this office. We need you guys to move back across the country where we had started from. And it was at that point in time we were like, maybe this is the flashing exit sign off of this default life highway that we're on.
It was pretty scary though. Like, we say it like it was no big deal. It was a really stressful decision and a really scary time. One, because that corporate dream life was sort of all we'd ever known. It was what we were brought up to believe was the goals in life. You know, you go to school, you get good grades, you get a good job, buy that white picket fence, you get the promotions and save for retirement, and eventually you retire and hopefully live the good life for a little while before you die. Like that was the life plan we were on. And in all metrics, like we were actually really good at that life. From the outside looking in, we were having success. And so walking away from that success was really scary because we're also both pretty type A, love a good checklist and a plan to make sure we get all the things. And we didn't have any of those things when we decided to walk away from our corporate careers. It just sort of felt in our gut like the right decision. And we trusted that we would figure it out. And we did eventually.
We fell on our face
We
a few
fell on our
times.
face really flat.
Yeah, because when you leave your corporate job, you also leave behind corporate paychecks. And so there's
Yeah.
this scarcity that rises up within you, and you're like, oh, I don't want to live in a cardboard box. We better figure out how we're going to make money quick. And so we just started doing some research and figuring out like what's the quickest way to wealth here. And real estate kept popping up. Real estate. And so we were like, okay, let's do real estate, whatever that means. And so we jump in and we start the business and we get the coaching and we do the flyer, all the marketing, all the stuff. And we've invested quite a bit of money in it. And it's like, we wake up one day and we're like, we hate it. We hate this. And it has the added benefit of zero money coming in early on, right? Like any venture that you start in entrepreneurship, it doesn't generate money right away. And so it was just like the corporate job without the added benefit of actual money that you can use to buy things. So it was starting to impact us actually, that like it was such a stressful time in our life that we were starting to feel that here.
Mhm.
And that's not us. It's just not us type of stuff. We were starting to like just chirp at each other and kind of nitpick a little bit. And that's when we were like, no, that's a non-starter. And we threw the challenge flag and we said, we have to have a difficult conversation. Like, what are we doing here?
That's when we discovered, one, that we were both miserable because I knew I was miserable. I didn't know for sure he was miserable because we weren't having that uncomfortable conversation of like, what that frig did we just do with our lives here? Like, is this left turn? Like, what have we done? But we had that conversation, discovered that we were in fact both miserable and it's us above everything. And so the other thing we learned in that conversation was that we didn't know what we wanted our life to be like. Like we knew what we didn't want. Like we left the corporate job. We knew that's what we didn't want, but we hadn't actually done any work to decide what do we want our life to be like? Who do we want to be? We were having a bit of an identity crisis, walking away from the corporate career. And so who are we? Who do we want to be? What do we want our life to look like? And what's the gift we want to give the world? Like, is it real estate? Really? Put a pin in that, even though we'd invested a bunch of money in that real estate company. It was just that we decided it wasn't for us. We're going to spend some time and answer those questions. And we ended up on a bit of a personal growth journey. And it was on going to these personal growth events and all these types of things that we ended up talking to a lot of different people, and they kept like, I can't get my wife to come. I can't get my husband to come. How do you guys do this together? And we just ended up talking to people. And what we didn't realize in the moment was we were coaching people, didn't know until someone else said, hey, have you guys considered coaching? And we said, that's a thing? Like you can do that? I don't know. No idea. And then we were at an event and the host of the event said, would you guys speak? Like, I've been watching you, blah, blah, blah. But would you guys speak on my stage at my next event about relationships? And we were like, who, us? Like, we don't speak. We don't, who are we to do that? And so it was a really scary, again, another really scary decision that we just sort of leaned into because that's what all the books tell you to do, lean into what's uncomfortable. So it's like, okay, I guess we're leaning into this super uncomfortable thing and we're going to talk about relationships. And that moment, that talk was the seed. It's where everything else came from when we said yes to that and leaned into that enormous amount of discomfort.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. And I got to honor you guys for taking those leaps, right? Jumping, leaving everything behind, the cushy, and then getting into something that you weren't really sure about, testing the waters, and then coming to the conclusion that, hey, maybe this isn't it, but then still trying to kind of figure things out and then falling into somebody talking about the whole coaching and then even speaking. Public speaking is like literally the number one fear that everybody has over dying. So people would rather public speak or they would rather die than give a speech. So that's just incredible that you guys went through that. But to kind of take it a few steps back, because a lot of people listening to this show I don't want to say that they don't have the confidence, but they're not necessarily ready, or there's not enough discomfort for them to leave their job, or maybe they enjoy their job, but they're starting something on the side. They're starting that side hustle, so that they can kind of build that passion project while still having that cushy corporate kind of lifestyle. So I got to ask, why did you guys both leave the corporate lifestyle?
Such a good question.
Yeah.
I wish we started with a side hustle.
Yeah, like I love that. I would definitely recommend most people do the side hustle first. Like do that, get that to where you want it, and then jump.
Yeah, it's stressful for you both to jump. To be honest,
Yeah.
we didn't really consider the alternative. Like, because of the circumstances of your job in this location ceases to exist. You can move back across the country, and in fact, you'll get promoted if you go back, which was super tempting because, the corporate climb and
Golden
all the
handcuff, yeah.
things, the golden handcuffs, all those things. But then there was the other element at play there, I guess, for us was also that my dad got sick right around then. He got cancer. We thought it would be his last Christmas, like a month after we got this decision at work situation. And so we went home that Christmas and spent what we thought would be his last Christmas with him. It wasn't. We got 4 more. So we're super grateful for that. But what was super interesting about that all that happening at the same time was dad's sickness, dad's cancer put in perspective for us what was really important. And if we moved back across the country, it was a clear other side of Canada compared to where our family and friends were. And like Craig's grandmother's not getting any younger. Our parents aren't getting any younger. My dad is sick. The most important thing for us was to be closer, because if we moved back across the country, we would see our family maybe 3 days a year, basically, by the time you fly there and you see it. Like, we're from the same area of Canada, but 3 different cities are required to do all the visiting and seeing all the people. So we wanted to be able to spend more time with our nieces and nephews. Like, they're going to grow up so fast that we didn't want to miss out on all those things. So the decision to leave was like, we can't stay and we don't want to go all the way across. So we have to leave. Could one of us have gotten another corporate job? Sure. For sure that was an option, but we didn't really consider it.
It was also one of the things that we really inherently knew, didn't really discuss in the moment, but knew inherently, was that we wanted to do and build something together. Like that was important to us. And so it never really came up in conversation to not do that. We just said, okay, what are we going to build? What are we going to do? And we just jumped into the real estate stuff, obviously, at first, which wasn't it. But we knew that whatever it was going to be together.
It was almost like the blessing of naivety or something. Like, had we known how hard it would be, and had we known how long it would take and how expensive it would be, had we known all those things up front, we might have done it differently.
We probably we probably would have, but it's funny because the dots, I think it's Steve Jobs says, the dots only connect looking backwards. When you look, if we were sitting where we were 5 years ago and said, okay, we're going to get to there and this is how we're going to do it, there's just absolutely no way you'd ever be able to predict the path and the dots connecting. But looking back, you're like, yeah, I see how all of those things and all of the fails and the missteps and all the things were necessary on the journey, because we met a certain person who introduced us to this, or we learned a valuable lesson failing at this, or like all of the things were meant for us on the journey. So I'm super grateful for all of it. I wouldn't take any of it back, and the struggles are all part of, just getting where you want to go. I love it.
Yeah, that's so true too, because oftentimes, like, just conversations with a lot of clients and even friends going through different struggles and hardships, it's painful and it sucks really bad in the moment. But then once you get through it, you can kind of reflect on it and move forward and share it with other people. And it can almost be comical sometimes on how like stressed out we were over little things that ended up not being as bad as we thought they were in the moment.
Totally. I just think like it just makes the story that much better.
Yeah.
Right? Like when the time comes to tell the story, it's like, yeah, well, you should have seen me fail at that.
We've said that actually so many times when it's been like really hard, or you felt like your back's really been against the wall. Like, wow, this is going to be such a good part of the story. Like, you got to just hold on to that.
It just kind of keeps you moving forward when even if in the moment it really sucks and it hurts and there's like lessons to be learned and that, but if you can keep in the forefront of your mind, it's like, yeah, but this is going to be a really cool part of the story. This chapter is going to be really funny when we tell this story. I'm not really laughing right now, but I think I will in the future.
Yeah, that's so true. So I want to ask, so okay, you guys were still dabbling a little bit with the real estate. You're at these different conferences and events, and then you're starting to give this advice, and you find out that your relationship is more than just personable, it's teachable. So I'm curious to ask, like, what did that feel like when you were like, wow, our relationship is kind of something that other people are looking to kind of learn to mimic or improve on or etc.
It was like a light bulb, like a switch. Like we didn't. When you're in the jar, you can't read the label. Kind of, I think there's a quote, something like that. And we were so close to it. We didn't. We knew we had worked really hard because we had our own relationship struggles early days, and like the relationship role models we had growing up not ideal. So we had a lot of unlearning to do when we got together. We were super intentional about building something really special, but it never landed for us that that was what really everyone else would want in a relationship.
It's kind of like we've got clients who don't see their own greatness for whatever their superpower is. Like because something comes, I'm not going to say easily because we did work really hard on
Yeah,
it.
for sure. Not easy at all.
Not easy, but it's become just such like an integral part of who we are and how we operate that it doesn't stand out as something special to offer someone else. And we have clients the same way that they don't see their own gifts. Like I can see them so much more clearly in you than you can see your gifts in you. And so we needed someone else to point to us. And when we finished that first talk, that sort of the talk, as I like to refer to it, several people came up after and was like, "Oh, wow, like, can you talk to my wife's not here, but, like, I need to dig more into this part and this part, and can we get on a call with you?" And there was just so much additional follow-up, and, like, it was so well received, but there was also so much more. People were left wanting so much more.
Mhm.
Like, okay, we need to do something here. People need help because when your primary relationship, whether it's your marriage or whatever the relationship is, but that primary relationship in your life, when it is bumpy, when you're feeling out of alignment and when you're feeling a little bit
Friction.
like, when there's a lot of friction and every day feels hard, like everything in life feels hard. Like there's so much energy and time and attention required to fix it, to like either avoid the next argument or to tiptoe around. Like all of those things require so much of your energy. And when you're not in that place, when you're in like a maintenance place, when things are smooth and there's less friction, you feel like you're aligned and moving in the same direction at the same pace. Everything in life, especially your business, but everything in life just feels so much easier because all that time and energy and attention and focus is not required here anymore. I can put that out to my big business goals, my health and fitness goals, whatever your big goals are in your life. You have all this attention and energy freed up to direct in that direction. And the coolest part is the other person has that too now. So you have this like exponential energy force that propels you forward instead of keeping you stuck. And when we realized that so many people felt stuck, it was like, geez, like this is
Light bulb
something.
moment.
Yeah. Like it was literally like the lights turned on.
It's like something unlocked for us. It's like this is like
This is the thing.
It's really cool because it's like you're struggling in real estate. You're struggling to figure out who you are and your gift that you offer the world, and then it's like a light is shown on it, and it's like, oh shoot, that's it. It's right there in front of it. It's been there the whole time, but we didn't see it. And so it was just this really cool like weight lifted, light come on, and an energy kind of, you get a jolt of energy. It's like, oh, this is the thing. Let's
I'm ready to run.
yeah, like let's attack this thing, right? So it was a really cool feeling.
Nice, nice. I know that, at least for me, personal kind of experience, that all relationships, whether it's romantic or just personal or even professional, take a lot of work to kind of maintain and make sure that things are moving relatively smoothly, whether it's just like checking in or following up with people or whatever it may be. It requires work. And that's just regular kind of things. And then I know that, like, in the professional world, working with your partner, your life partner in business can be either super, super great, or it can cause a lot of turmoil and such. So how do you guys navigate that as a couple and as business partners? Because I imagine there's got to be some disagreements and different things going on once in a while in the professional realm. And then how do you not let that affect yourselves on the personal realm?
Yeah, for sure. It's a great question. And we get it a lot. Is like you're wearing multiple hats. And I think it's really it's really important to understand which hat am I wearing in any given moment. Am I wearing business partner hat or am I wearing husband hat? And based on the conversation you're having, which hat you're wearing will determine which response or which, tone or whatever you take in that conversation. And so it's really important when we're having a conversation to understand which role are we playing right now. Because if she's in wife mode and I'm in business partner mode, there's going to be friction. Or if I'm in husband mode and she's in or vice versa, then there's going to be friction. So we need to understand that when she's in wife mode and she wants to have a conversation in wife mode, I need to be in husband mode, not business partner mode. And so timing is important. So understanding, are they in the middle of something? Are they working through a big business challenge right now? That's probably not the best time to have a conversation about husband wife stuff. So we're going to table that later. And another really cool thing we do is we try to have a cutoff. Like obviously when you're entrepreneurs, business bleeds into a lot of different areas of your life. But if you can, for the most part, have sort of like a cutoff or some dedicated time for relationship, husband, wife, where we're not focused on business, it's just focusing on us, that's critical. So one thing we do is like we end, our workday, we'll go for a walk and we'll just like decompress and we'll have a conversation. It gets fresh air and sun and all the good stuff. And we can kind of talk about the day, download everything that we want from the day and what's coming up. And then we can transition when we come back to, make dinner and kind of go into that husband wife kind of connection time. So I think those have been super, super helpful for us.
And I think one thing we talk to clients about a lot is when you're in business partner mode, like sometimes you're going to be directing each other and coaching each other sometimes on what are we doing? Can you take this? And it's a more directive relationship sometimes, and it can be hard to turn that off. And so what we find sometimes is people try to coach their spouse when they're in spouse mode, and never, like I'm going to say it like as directly and plainly as I can, never freaking ever coach your spouse. Like that is never your job. It's never his job as my husband to coach me as his wife. Like it causes so much friction and turmoil. And you run into so many issues in the marriage when you try to coach each other. It's really difficult.
And then the other thing I'll say on this one is because, you talked a little bit about like how do you navigate tough conversations, being in different roles and stuff. And, there's going to be disagreements in the business. And for sure there is. But one way we disagree all the time on things. Like there's things that she thinks this is the path and I think that this is the path. But what we both agree on is we both always want what's best for this relationship and for our business. And so if you can always go into every conversation or every disagreement with that in mind, is like we're not opposing. We're on the same side. We just have a difference of opinion on which way to get there, but we always give each other the benefit of the doubt and we lead with curiosity. So if you can give the benefit of the doubt and know that they want what's best for this as well, and lead with curiosity and try to understand from their perspective, what is it that you see that I don't? It changes everything.
And the easiest way to do that, we have found, is to agree on where you're going. So once we've agreed on what our North Star is, like our destination that we're heading to, we may have different ideas on the best route to get there, but we're trying to get to the same spot. And so it becomes easier to give the benefit of the doubt when we're both trying to make this product. Like we were creating something earlier this year and we had different ideas on what would make it the best. Like, oh, we should do it this way. He's like, no, we definitely need to do it like this. I'm like, what? That makes zero sense. Why would we do it that way? Like, I can't see that at all. And we were getting a bit frustrated, but then we could take a step back and say, our ultimate goal is to make this end product the best end product it can possibly be. We have the exact same goal. We just are taking different paths to get there. And so it's not that he's trying to undermine my way of doing it and I'm not trying to undermine his way of doing it. We just see it totally differently. And that's a strength so that our end product is going to be as strong as it can possibly be.
Yeah, you just have to always know that you're on the same team. It's you against the problem.
Yeah.
You may a difference of tactics or strategy or path forward, but if you can find the seed of agreement, what's the thing we do agree on, and then work from that.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful too. And I see that with a lot of like younger personal development or personal training clients that I have where they're trying to grow their business and they're trying to get their connections with their clients. And they sometimes make it seem like they I guess maybe they don't communicate that well enough to their clients that like, hey, we're on the same team. We're trying to build your business. We're trying to get you to lose weight so that you're in better shape. Like I'm on the same side as you. I'm not giving you these workouts just to punish you. I'm doing these to kind of help you with these meal plans and such. And so I think that's very beneficial to know also in business too, is like, hey, if you're working with clients or customers, like you're on the same team, and the relationship goes further. One of my mentors, Rory Vaden, oftentimes says that the sale is not over once the money goes through. The sale is over when the product's delivered or the relationship comes to a conclusion for that customer and such like that. And I think a lot of people forget that in entrepreneurship. I think they just look to get the money into their pocket. And then it's kind of like, oh, now I have to do extra for you or X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, you're still a relationship, whether it's personal or professional. Like you still want to have the same team mentality on there.
Yeah, the crazy part is, like, I agree with you that I think there's too much of that because when the money changes hands, that's when the work begins. That's when the relationship really starts. That's when you hit the gas, not the brakes, because you wanna build momentum. You wanna create the best experience for that person possible. So that's when you need to like really slam the gas on that
Yeah.
relationship.
Yo, what's up? Sorry for interrupting. It's me, Rob. If you've been listening and thinking, man, I just know I'm capable of so much more, but something's just really not clicking, well, I've got something for you. It's called the Prime Performance Personality Quiz. And in just a few minutes, you'll uncover what's actually slowing you down. So whether it's a mindset block, energy drain, or a lack of clarity, this quiz is going to give you specific insights to help you build momentum again. Again, this quiz is free, fast, and honestly, freakishly accurate. So take it now over at survivingthesidehustle.com/quiz and stop spinning, start winning today.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you guys, what is a like quick little thing? So if anybody listening in here, it's tough as a side hustle or even as an entrepreneur to be able to kind of turn off and switch those gears. What would you recommend maybe an early stage side hustler, because they still have their 9 to 5 kind of job. Now they have their project on the side as well. What's something like a 5-minute practice or a ritual or something that they could do to help deepen their relationships at home?
I think especially when you're building a side hustle, because I think you probably get a lot of fulfillment from your side hustle, and you also have your 9 to 5. So like that's a lot of your
A
time.
lot.
It's like it takes up a lot of your time and a lot of your energy. And I think the first thing is making sure that you are finding time to recharge your battery. Because when your battery gets low, when your tank starts to feel empty, you don't show up as your best self in any relationship in your life, whether it's in your business, whether it's your colleagues, your business partner, your life partner, your friends or family, anybody, you're not showing up as your best self. So everything becomes harder when your battery's running low. And when you're trying to build a side hustle and keep your 9 to 5 afloat, that's a lot. And so just like priority one is making sure you know the things. It doesn't have to take a long time, but the things that recharge you. It might be grounding, standing out in the grass for 10, 15 minutes in the morning. It might be going for a 20-minute walk, just no headphones, no other people, no nothing, just you and your thoughts to let things process. It might be 10 minutes of meditation. But it's going to be different for different people, but identifying what is the thing that gives you energy, that fills your cup, that charges your battery, because your battery being full makes everything else work. Nothing works if your battery is empty. So that would be the first thing.
Yeah, and then the thing for me is like when you have a side hustle, the idea is that you're trying to build this big life that you all the things, the freedoms, all the things that you want in this life. And that's going to take obviously at the end you want balance. You want to be able to spend all your time where you want it and have that balance. But in the early days, it's going to be probably a little bit out of balance and there's going to be a lot of time working on the side hustle and you're going to have to sacrifice other things, but that doesn't mean eliminate them completely. So really make sure that you put some time in your schedule for your relationship. Have a date with your spouse or your person, even if it's only a half an hour once a week, whatever, like just find something. Don't completely neglect it, because if you do, you're going to build all this crazy cool stuff over here. And then you're going to look over here to say, oh, look what I built. Let's go live life now. And they're not even going to be there. You're not even going to know each other. You're going to have completely disconnected and you're going to get lost in the whole thing. So really make sure that you're still watering, the other parts of your life and nourishing that as well. It's not always going to be completely in balance, but make sure there's some dedicated time to other areas like your health and fitness. Make sure that are taking care of yourself, because you don't want to die early after you've built this crazy big life for yourself and then be completely unhealthy because you neglected your health and fitness.
Yeah, because we talk about it with relationships. Like, people think, they're big fancy date nights. Like, it doesn't have to. Like,
No.
to your point, it can be 20, 30 minutes. Just if you book it in your calendar so that you can be completely present when you're in that moment. So if we're going to spend 30 minutes doing something together so that we're watering that relationship garden, so to speak, then no phones, no distractions. Like, I've put in my calendar these 30 minutes. So my calendar has accounted for I need to do work after that. I'm going to do work before that. I've got everything accounted for. So I can set down
Yeah.
the side hustle and the 9 to 5 for these 20 minutes, these 30 minutes, and be actually present where my feet are so we can spend quality time, because it's not about the quantity of time. I could spend 4 hours with him, but if I'm scrolling my phone and mentally writing emails and checking off to-do lists, and like, that doesn't feed this relationship. I can do 20 minutes of phones away, laptops closed, we're sitting outside, or we're doing something, just having a conversation for 20 minutes without distraction is far better than a 4-hour conversation where only one of us is really present.
Yeah, geez, man, where the heck were you guys like 10 years ago? Because those three things you guys shared were like the complete opposites of what I was doing. I like never took any time to kind of fill up any other thing for myself. It was just like work, 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 side hustle, side hustle, side hustle, never recharged my own. And then like I was just taking all the relationships closest to me for granted, just assuming that they'd always be around, whether it was the girl I was dating, my friends, or even family with my father. I just assumed he was going to be around forever, and never made time for that. And then, yeah, being able to spend time undistracted with people makes so much sense. Like, hey, even if it's like 30 minutes or so with no phone or anything, much rather that than like a 5 hour like argument because of that, or like 4 hours of just sitting watching TV on my phone. So two screens and not talking to my partner. So,
Yeah.
geez, I wish I knew you guys were around a few years ago. Could have saved me some heartache. But would you guys mind sharing? I know we were talking a lot about your story and kind of a lot of tips and stuff too, but what I'm interested to hear, what is it like working with you? Because I remember you guys were talking about like a Friday connection call, and you guys do more one-on-one coaching or two-on-two coaching, I think you guys were telling me. Could you explain to me a little bit more what it looks like working with you guys?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we used to call it one-on-one coaching, but really it is two-on-two coaching. And so those are like our private coaching clients. And that's usually where people think that they want to start, is with the private coaching. What we have found, because after the talk, we built out a marriage program with group coaching. And what we found was actually that people think they want one-on-one coaching because they think it's all like you get more attention and it's more an undivided attention type of thing. But when you're on a group coaching call, you get to learn from other people's questions. So you're like, I didn't even think to ask about that. That applies to me. That's a really good question. So they're kind of picking up things by osmosis based on other people's questions, but also you don't feel so alone. Like, I think sometimes when you're on a one-on-one, two-on-two coaching conversation and you're talking about all the things going on in your life that are difficult in your relationship, you sometimes feel like you're the only one going through them, because most people's the glimpse you get into other people's lives, you don't always see the messy inside piece of where they're walking on eggshells around each other and arguing over who unloaded the dishwasher improperly and all those things. You don't see that in other people's relationships as easily as you see it in your own. So you feel kind of isolated and alone in what you're going through. Whereas when you're on a group coaching call, like, yeah, there's a bunch of people all in various stages of a similar situation that they're all working through together. So you have this sense of like camaraderie and support and accountability that you just don't get with the one-on-one. And so what we found is when people finished our program, we wanted to have space to continue that level of like group
Support.
community vibe. So we created our infinite relationship mastermind, and that's where we do that every Friday. We just have a connection call. So we come on together and we start by celebrating the wins going on, and everybody's like, what's going well? Like, let's just celebrate the things, relationship or otherwise, it doesn't matter.
And then it gives people an opportunity to bring whatever they're dealing with in their
Mhm.
relationships on that call. Like, that's a call for just bring your stuff. And it's a really we've created a really safe space. We're really proud of it.
Yeah.
And so you can just come and we'll walk through whatever it is that you're working through and get you back into momentum.
And the cool part about this mastermind is it started with a marriage focus, but we talk about all relationships. So like on our last call, one of our members was talking about relationship with her mom. Like she's really having a hard time with the boundaries in the relationship with her mother. So we spend a lot of time talking about that situation. And maybe not everyone's having an issue with the boundaries with their mom, but they might be having some boundary issues with someone else in their life. So people are picking up pieces that apply to their life from other people's different relationships. So it's cool that we get to talk with people and support people in all the important relationships in their life. So that's the Friday call.
Yeah. And then on Tuesday, we have every other Tuesday,
Mhm.
we create courses live with the mastermind members. So we just wrapped up a course on the relationship with adventure. So adventure and how it impacts and how it's important to your relationship. And now we're starting a new course this coming week on the 5 rules to be an unstoppable team.
Yeah, because we firmly believe that your relationship, we take the frame that your relationship, you're a team. When you can see your relationship as a team, that you're, and like, it's the third entity. Like there's me, there's you, and then there's the team. And when we can work in the best interest of the team and support the team to be successful, when the team wins, we all win. So we love kind of instilling that frame with our clients. So we've got a whole course coming up on our 5 rules to be an unstoppable team.
So yeah, that's the mastermind. And then obviously the group program we talked about, and then the one-on-one or / two-on-two
Mhm.
coaching are kind of the 3 buckets, if you will, for working with us.
Interesting. Pretty sweet, pretty sweet. And the like rewinding it for a second there, you had mentioned how the group setting, you guys have done a good job on keeping it as like a safe spot. Like, could you just comment on that? Because I imagine I've gone to a couple of like personal development dinners and such, and it can be scary to be vulnerable and
Yep.
speak up, especially when there's a lot of people around.
Yep.
So I'm curious to hear how that kind of has grown, or how that's became such a great safe spot for people to share.
Yeah, we're really proud of it actually. And we were worked really hard, and when we started the mastermind, we vet everyone. We make sure that they're a good fit. We want to make sure that if you're coming into this space that you understand what it is that you're walking into. It's a very safe space. People feel, and so it's just leading with empathy, right? We make sure that we're leading with empathy, and we're making sure that everyone who comes into the group also kind of holds our values and are all looking for the same stuff. And what's really cool is one of the first exercises we had people do was write a letter to themselves. And one of the things was and like
Love letter to yourself.
yeah,
Because the course was the relationship with yourself.
with yourself. Like the first course we did was the relationship with yourself. And one of the exercises coming out of that course was write a love letter to yourself. And one of the mastermind members, a young man, had a really difficult time with that. And he came on to the next call when we were talking about kind of how did it go over the week, with the homework. And he got really vulnerable, and he raised his hand. He's like, I really struggled with that exercise. I couldn't really find anything that I could say that I honestly love about myself. And it really like broke our heart to hear him say that, because he's such an amazing guy. But the thing is that the other people on the call were just like, bro, you are such an amazing person. And they start to talk him up and start to like explain what they see in him. And then one of the other men on the call was like, would it help you if I read the love letter that I wrote to myself so that you could get an understanding of what I wrote, and maybe that'll inspire you, or at least it'll get your brain thinking along the lines, and you can try again. And so he wrote his 3-page letter, he read his 3-page letter that he wrote to himself
To everyone on the call.
to everyone on the call. And that's when we realized, like, okay, this is the space we've been trying to create. This is special. If people are willing to take their love letter that they've wrote to themselves and read that out loud to help others in the group, that's game changer.
And for the first guy, like young guy, to raise his hand and say, I couldn't write the letter. Like I couldn't, like that took so much courage to raise your hand and say that. And then to have the other guy step up and be like, hey, I'll read you mine if it would help. Got off that call and I just I floated for like 3 days after that. Cause I just like, yes, this is the space.
But it's all about how you show up, and consistently showing up that way and hammering that message of this is a safe space. We show up with vulnerability. And it's one of the key components of our message is that vulnerability is the superpower to all your relationships. And that goes for the relationships in the community. Like if we can't lead vulnerably, we can't really get to know each other on that level, then we're not going to make the same level of progress. So it's really about understanding that vulnerability is a superpower. We need to lead with it. And that does take courage.
And it starts with us. Like we role model that first.
Yeah, we'll be the first to admit. I mean, we just wrote a book. If you want to see vulnerable, like we put it all out there, and we do the same on the calls. And so it's really leading with vulnerability and curiosity, and just creating that safe space.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. And yeah, it's when you yourself or somebody in your group can really stand up and express the strength of vulnerability, I imagine that just being like a powerful domino effect for everybody else too. So I could totally see that. Now, so where can listeners who are checking in this and they're like, hey, I really like this. I'm interested in this mastermind. I'm interested in potentially coaching or even just kind of following Meredith and Craig on to and if you do have spaces open, I should say, for the mastermind and one-on-one coaching, like how do people get involved? How do they like get in touch with you, and where do they go to like stay up to date with what you got going on?
Yep.
Well, you can follow us on Instagram. We're at Meredith and Craig. So we share lots of stuff, lots of our strategies and concepts on Instagram all the time. And then you can come to our website, roadoflifecoaching.com.
Yeah. And there's the mastermind. Like we said, we protect the space. So obviously we want to have a conversation, but there's always space for the right fit. And one-on-one coaching and two-on-two coaching, obviously that's something that takes more time. So there's less availability for that, but we always have a wait list or opportunities to other things that we can direct people to. And when space frees up, we can get you in there. But
actually, we have a 33-day email challenge. So just an email into your inbox every day for 33 days. It's speaking of vulnerability, we share a lot of our vulnerable personal stories, and one little tiny action. It's the 33-day challenge is built on the premise that small hinges swing big doors. Like it doesn't, to what we talked about earlier, it doesn't take a lot of time to maintain a connection. It takes small intentional actions. And so we have a little small intentional action you can do every day for 33 days to strengthen your connection in your relationship. And we can send you the link to that. I don't remember it off the top of my head. I should probably know that, but it's free, and it's a good way to kind of, just get to know us a little bit better. You'll learn some funny, weird, uncomfortable stories about us, and then you'll have some momentum build in your relationship. So we'll send you that so you can add it.
Sweet. And then also, if people are going and they're following you on Instagram, you might as well reach out and say, hey, I'm interested in this email challenge kind of thing. So that'd be pretty smooth too. Well, so as we kind of wrap up, I just want to make sure that I appreciate or show appreciation and gratitude to you guys, because it is awesome that you guys are doing such incredible work with a lot of people, because it's the kind of work that gives back multiples, right? So you're helping the individual who is signed up, but you're also helping the relationships that they're closest to. And then also those relationships of those people, because just the impact that it has just trickles out to everywhere. So it's incredible stuff that you guys are doing, and I appreciate you guys. And I'm grateful that you guys kind of stumbled into this too. And you got that lucky break to kind of being like, hey, maybe we should do something like this. Cause I can just feel the power that you guys are leaving behind with all of this stuff. But before I let you guys go, I'd like to just ask you guys one final question. I was like thinking to myself here, looking back on everything down the road and kind of reflecting on things, what is the one thing that you kind of hope that your clients or your followers and listeners and such would say about their marriage and their business or their relationships because of your...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I would like them to walk away feeling that their marriage, their important relationships are meant to be fun. Life gets so heavy and it's hard, and there's, everything takes a lot of work, and there's work involved in everything for sure. But we lose sight of the fun, and the process of reconnecting in your relationship can be enjoyable and fun. It doesn't have to be heavy and hard all the time. And just life, your marriage, your business, we're meant to have more fun than we do. And that's a really strong, we didn't really get into it on this call for some reason, but that's a really big part of our framework, is bringing fun back into your relationships. And so that's one of the key messages I'd like people to walk away with, that bring more fun back into your marriage, into your relationships, into your life.
It's funny. I probably shouldn't have let you go first. That was exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, building off of that is that, it doesn't have to feel hard. Like entrepreneurship and relationships, by default, sometimes we think that they're going to be hard, but I think that's a lot of times when we're out of flow. When we're out of flow, things just feel like they're a grind. When we can get into flow, it just feels smoother. And so if it's feeling like a grind or it doesn't feel like the right thing, chances are there's some misalignment there. And it's really just to find that flow. And you know like I got default back to fun. Just like it's supposed to feel fun, and that's what life is. It's way too short to not have fun. So if you're not having fun, something's off. We need to change that.
Man, yeah, I love that. That was perfectly said, and I couldn't agree more with you guys. And I try to find fun in pretty much everything that I can do, and I think that's a really good outlook to have. So again, I appreciate you guys for the work that you're doing and taking the time today to kind of share a bit about your story and such with my listeners. And I hope they got as much value out of this conversation as I did, and love to have you guys back sometime in the future. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks so much,
Absolutely.
Rob.
Thank you, Rob. It was a pleasure.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you next week. Peace, peace, peace. And that's it for this episode of Surviving the Side Hustle. If you found this valuable, the best way to support the show is to rate and review on Apple or Spotify. It helps get the show in front of more driven individuals just like you, and helps them discover the tools to get unstuck, break through burnout, and build something real. And you can always connect deeper with me, our guests, or grab free resources at survivingthesidehustle.com/Rob. Whether it's a strategy call, the Prime Performance Personality Quiz, some of our products, or just to check out our free content library, connect with us over at survivingthesidehustle.com/Rob. And hey, remember this, you weren't meant to just grind. You were built to grow. So stay conscious, stay committed, and keep showing up. Peace, guys.